Hi, this is Coach Brandy Nick from the Infinite Growth Club, the Bruce Beverly Method, and World of Wellness. And I wanted to spend some time in this particular series talking about choosing peace in a world that's at war. This is the discipline of the peacemaker. And, let's just be honest. The world feels like it's caving all the way in. Okay, we've got the violence on the home front and away, war, tension everywhere you look, even in our neighborhoods. And if you're like most people right now, and you're watching it all unfold, and somewhere inside you're asking yourself, what can I even do? What can I do? You feel it when you wake up, before your feet hit the floor, before you check your phone. There's already something heavy sitting on your chest. And you've been calling it stress. You've been calling it anxiety. You've been calling it, this is just how life is right now. But I want to offer you a different perspective on this, okay? Because here's what nobody's telling you. The chaos is out there in the world, even if it has nothing to do with you, you think that chaos always starts in here. Always starts in here. So what's on the outside is always going to start from the inside. And if the problem starts from within, well, then so does the answer. And that's the beauty in this. So this is where we're going to begin with this, thinking about how do we really do this shift, because it feels as if we just are powerless. I know a lot of you are feeling that way. And so I wanted to take some time to address that in this talk. There's something that nobody warns us about. And, when you live inside chaos long enough, you stop noticing it and you start to become it. So think about that, right? I'm going to repeat that just in case you missed it the first time. So here is something that nobody warns us about. It's when you live inside the chaos, you become it. Okay, let that sink in for a while. Because we're always affected by everything else that's happening around us. And then that slowly starts to change the way that we interact with people, the way we interact with our loved ones, the way we interact with our coworkers, the way we interact with our children and our family. So you carry that tension in your shoulders like an armor. Okay, you carry that anxiety in your chest. Okay, you sharpen your words before you even realize that you're doing it. You're just ready for a fight. You're just ready. You don't even know why you're ready for that. And then one day you snap at somebody that you love. You say something hurtful you didn't mean to say. All of this stuff building up. It's been boiling up inside of you. And it's not because you don't love them. It has nothing to do with that. It's because your soul is exhausted. Your spirit has had enough. Okay. And you say something sometimes that you just can't take back. We regret those things. So you want to take a little step, breathe a bit, use all of our tools that we have. Those of you who have been following me for a while, we always talk about what's in our inner peace and our emotional toolkit. We want to use those things to just be unaffected in the moment. There's this really great analogy for all of this that I really love. It's about water and the ocean. It's like there's waves in the ocean. There's waves and waves and waves. And, maybe there's a storm brewing up top and the waves are clashing and there's all of this stuff going on. But we want to go deeper. We want to go deeper. And the deeper that we go into this water and into this ocean, you know what? The calmer it becomes. Okay, so I offer that to you. When there's a bunch of chaos going around, we want to go deep. We want to go calm. We want to be like the ocean. We want to be like that water. Okay, just still. So even if it's dark, even if you don't know, even if you can't navigate, it's okay, right? The ocean is dark. The ocean's hard to navigate. Sometimes it's so mysterious. More mysterious even than the planets. Right? It's mysterious in that way. Okay? And in the same type of way that we go deeper into the ocean to experience that calm, that analogy, that draws from from my yoga teachers who offer that to me in India. This is exactly what we want to access here. Okay. So we have all of this stuff, we make the mistake, we say something that we regret to somebody that we love. And, it's beyond repair, right? It's beyond repair. We lose our friendships, we lose our family, all this stuff. And what we end up being is ultimately we end up being alone in that, right? And then we call this cycle the new normal. No, it can't be the normal. We can't settle for that. We cannot afford to let that be our new normal. Us hurting each other, neighbors against neighbors, schoolmates against schoolmates, coworkers against coworkers, right? We can't let that boil over. We all have the individual responsibility to carry on that message of peace and love. But you know what? That's what happens when you've never been trained. When you've never been trained to hold peace. It's something so simple. Holding peace, but in the middle of pressure, right? It's not okay. It's not enough just to be able to say, okay, I'm going to be peaceful when all is going right. No, those aren't the teachings. Those are not the teachings. It's not, oh, let me be at peace when it's easy. That's not it either. We can't live life like that. Okay. So hear me out on this because we're not the first generation to go through this, right? We know this, right? We're not the first to have gone through this. So we can actually, what that means? We can peel back a little bit and we can see, well, what do the ancient texts have to say about this? What do they have to say, right? What did God have to say about this? What's that ancient wisdom have to say about these times? And we can, look to the past to help us in our present and also help us navigate our future. So here we go, because every era had its chaos. Every people had their breaking points. Every civilization asked the same question that we're all asking right now. How do I stay whole when everything around me is falling apart? I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to repeat that because I think it bears repeating. How do we stay whole when everything around us is falling apart and crumbling? So across thousands of years, across thousands of cultures, never even spoke the same language, they kept finding the same answers. The same answers kept on arising, okay? So, if I boil it down, I'll explain it to you like this. It's peace isn't found, it's forged, it's practiced, okay? It doesn't just happen spontaneously. It's not even just innately in us. We have to work for it, and it has to be a practice just like everything else. It has to be a discipline just like everything else, okay? And so now, with us, we say, well, we're going to go ahead and be practitioners in peace. Now, I know this. Now, listen, this is a little bit, you need to think about this war between, do we get violence with violence, or do we go in and we try to do peace? Well, there's different ways and different points in my life. I'll be honest with you. I've addressed that different ways, right? Myself, right? There's a time in my life where I would have probably been like, nah, I'm going to get my lick back. I'm going to get my lick back. You ain't going to get that on me. You're not going to get the upper hand on me. But here's what I realized is that when you are a practitioner of peace, it not only does it happen on the outside, but also happens on the inside. And, on my journey to be happier and healthier and more abundant, I started to realize that it also serves me to hold some peace. Don't mean that, don't mean I'm gonna be a punk about it now. Don't, that's not what it means. It don't mean that, I can't say what I gotta say. It just means that in my actions are going to be rooted in love, and they're going to be rooted in peace. Point blank, period. So let's look at the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali Ji, okay? And let's dig into this a little bit, all right? Because again, like I said, I'm going to go over the ancient texts, not just the Bible. We're going to go over all the ancient texts because they all arrive to a similar thing, right? So I think that that's interesting. And, I love it when there's kind of like this convergence of ideas that happen throughout different texts, different people, different time periods, that we can learn from the past. Always been really big on learning from the past, looking back, to look forward. Okay. So, in Yoga Sutra 2.35, it says, and I am going to phrase it here because of course it's written in Sanskrit, so I'm going to phrase it here. So all these are written in different languages other than English, so we're going to do our best, right? But essentially what it's saying is, when a person is fully established in nonviolence, all hostility ceases in their presence. Okay. Read that again. When a person is fully established in nonviolence, all hostility ceases in their presence. You know what that means? You know what that means? It doesn't mean that we're going to go out there and we're going to stop the conflict necessarily, through taking up arms and doing all this stuff. And we think, creating peace is about having violence and all of that. Absolutely not. It's the complete opposite of that. We're not also going to go and argue. I'm not going to waste my time arguing with you about something that I know is true. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. I'm going to hold my peace. I'm going to be anchored in peace. And the conflict, because of that, the conflict cannot survive around me because I'm not meeting the conflict down here with this low energy. I'm up here going high, like Michelle Obama. You hear what I'm saying? I'm up here going high on a high vibration, and this low vibrational violent energy, okay, is over here trying to disturb my peace, trying to bring me down. But instead, I'm going to stay right where I'm at, grounded, and that's going to level up, okay? And it's going to cancel it out. That's what it is. Y'all can believe me or not. Y'all can believe me or not, but I'm saying this is what I know to be true. And, most people are trying to create peace out there, somewhere outside of yourself, without even considering that maybe it's worth it to look inside first. Okay. Does that make sense? So most people are trying to create peace everywhere else, but in their home. But when they wake up in the morning feeling sad and heavy and depressed, instead of really, really, really saying, you know what, I'm going to orchestrate my life in a way that is peaceful and is healthy for myself, joyful, filled with good people and good relationships, filled with a good relationship with yourself, because nonviolence also means practicing nonviolence against yourself. That means you can't be out there having the bad thoughts about that. That is an act of violence against you. When you have negative self-talk, all of that falls into this category. And this is something that blew my mind when I really started diving deeper into my yoga practice, is because I'm like, I spend years talking negatively about myself. Years. And I know I'm not alone in that. So I want to offer it to you because it's something that a lot of us don't know. All right. So let's look in the Bible for a second, because I was raised in the church. Okay. And, and I do think that there's a lot of lessons that can be learned across different religions. So I'm never going to say anything, negative about the teachings of Jesus because, that man, okay, truly, whether or not, but regardless of your beliefs, can we all agree that there was God energy there? Okay, I'm not trying to change your beliefs on anything. Not trying to change your beliefs on anything, but we gonna go ahead and say this was God energy in Jesus Christ. Okay, and so we also want to have God energy. We may not be God, or maybe we are. Who knows? I'm not here to argue one way or the other. Okay, but in Matthew 5:9, it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Peacemakers. Peacemakers. Not the peace talkers, not the peace posters. Peacemakers. That's an action. Okay, let's talk about that. It's an action. So that means that peace is a verb, maybe. Maybe in order to get to that place of peace and practicing peace, we might have to do something. We may have to have an action. Doesn't mean that we just gonna sit there and, and hope for the best. It's not that. We're not gonna wait around for it. This is something that you build. You build a peaceful foundation. Okay? I don't know. I don't know if y'all really getting what I'm saying. Like, y'all picking up what I'm putting down. I have no idea. But for those of you who get it, you're going to take this message, okay, and apply it to your life, and it will forever change you and your perspective and how you kind of see things as we, again, navigate a very tumultuous time. All right. So then we're going to say, he pushes a little bit further here and then goes to say, and this one I feel like a lot of people know, but this is Matthew 5:44. Love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. What? Love your enemies and bless those who curse. See, that's what I'm saying. It just negates, right? It's like one thing that is good is going to negate a thing that is bad. It cancels each other out, and love and peace always wins. Love and peace always wins. You're going to have enemies. You're going to have people that want what you want, want what you got, want your family, covet over your entire life and your entire existence. You are not going to want to be at peace with those people. You're going to have people that just work your last nerve, and you are not going to want to be at peace with them. Trust me, I know this from my own experience, but I also know this from seeing people. And I'm telling you that you will be free in the moment that you decide to say, I choose love, I choose peace, I choose stillness, I choose to go deeper into the water. I choose not to be fazed, but I choose to do the actions every single day that lead up to a peaceful existence. And we could take that one by one. That is how we change the trajectory of the world. By being loving individually, being loving at the highest level of power. Now, come on, let me be real with y'all real quick. Do you think that if we had people who truly walked in love and peace at the highest level of power, that we would be in the kind of conflicts that we are as a country? Yeah. Okay. I think that I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's you just ask yourself that. Again, I'm not here to change anybody. I'm not here to change anybody. I'm just here to offer a different perspective, okay, based off of ancient wisdom. Okay. And some of this I know, but a lot of this, I think there's very little that as humans we truly understand about the nature of existence, and that is also okay. So now Proverbs says, right, and this we're talking about even in the Old Testament or in the Torah. Proverbs 15:1, a gentle answer turns away wrath. Wrath is a strong word. It's a strong word. It's a strong word. Oh my God. That is like a deep, 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 deep-seated hatred. Deep-seated hatred causes wrath. It even sounds wild. Wrath. Lord, sounds like it belongs in a Marvel comic, you know? As a villain. Wrath the villain. Oh my goodness. All right. Even we talk about like the Quran, right, in Islam. There's similar messaging here. All right. So, you got repel evil with what is better. Whoever saves one life, it is as if they saved all of humanity. All of these things come from these ancient texts. We got to listen. We got to listen. We got to listen. I mean, if I could shake this camera and be like, yo, you gotta listen to what it is, because it is that crucial. It is that crucial. And I'm a little, you see me, I'm passionate. Y'all know I'm passionate, but it is critical. It is critical to understand. It's critical to understand. Okay, it's basic, but we have to start implementing this piece into our life. All right. I want to, before the last thing that I'm going to draw one more, and this is from modern times. So this is not ancient times, but this is our beloved, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. All right. And, what Dr. King said is that hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that's kind of the same as saying, you cannot beat fire with fire, right? You cannot amplify something and expect it to be calmed. Y'all get what I'm saying? Do y'all really get what I'm saying? You can't do more of the same and get something different. I mean, it's such a simple concept, but why we keep, I don't know, why we keep ignoring this wisdom that's been out here. It's not new. It's not new. These are centuries and centuries of wisdom. People have learned. People have died. People have died to be able to provide us with the wisdom that exists in these ancient texts. People have been ostracized, been put down to the lowest level to risk themselves to spread these messages. And for whatever reason, we just refuse to listen. But the one thing that I want to remind you of today is that it starts here. It starts at the individual level. And, you think about most conflicts, they don't start. I'm gonna say this, and I know that some of y'all are gonna challenge me on it. It's okay. I'm here for the challenge. It's all good. But I'm gonna put this out here, is that most of the conflicts don't actually start from the hatred. And when I'm talking about, I mean not your antagonizers, not those people that are, that are sparking it, starting it on and egging it. Not those people. I'm talking about you, because now I'm talking about you, right? Like whatever with them, I'm talking directly to you. You hear what I'm saying? The conflict that you're responding to, your need to feel like you have to respond to something, that is because of your dysregulation. You never learn to pause, breathe, count, whatever. There's a number of different tools we got in the toolkit that we can use to bring it down a little bit. You remember we say woosah, right? Those kind of things, right? You haven't been taught to pause. So instead of pausing when you are threatened, you react. You react without thinking. You react without pause. You react without reason. You just react because that is natural. It's a natural defense for us to do that. We're born with that as a response, but we have to think about slowing it down a little bit. We have to slow it down and pause. We have to train our nervous system to be able to deal with this because we are in a heated crisis. And we're all feeling it, which means we're all responding to it, right? We all have multiple shared traumatic experiences, but we all have shared traumatic experiences, not only in this nation, but in this world. We're operating off empty, right? Because everything around us is becoming more and more and more and more overwhelming, but we're still expected to operate at the same level that we've been operating at for the past 10, 20, 30 years. And we see it, we're feeling it. It's not like, that we've got blinders on where we can only see straight. We see everything. We see that the prices are going up. We see that there's more killings and more shootings. We see that obesity is off of the charts. We see heart disease is off the charts. We're losing our loved ones daily because of stress-related diseases and preventable illnesses, but we don't know how to navigate it all. And in the middle of all of that, we're in global conflict. And so that global conflict, what do? We just put our single vision on. We try to compartmentalize. We try our best to live our best lives day in and day out and without going crazy. We are operating on empty. And some of y'all are aware of it and some of y'all are not. And that's why good people say terrible things, why good people do horrific things, why strong relationships fracture. It's exhaustion. So I want to ask you directly, in a world that just seems, in a world that seems like it is just crumbling and coming apart at the seams and constantly engaged in violence, what are you preparing for? Are you gearing up for the conflict? Are you going to actively be a part of the conflict? Are you going to be part of the problem? And let me be clear, I'm not talking about for people who are, active duty in the military who, have to respond to these conflicts. Might I say that I'm going to keep you in prayer and meditation. Absolutely. Because, we need you. We need you and we love you. We need you and we love you. And it is not fair, but it is the cards that we're dealt. It's the hand. It is where we are. But for, everyone else who's not actually physically going to be participating in these global conflicts with violence, and even if you are there, I think there's still a matter of being able to hold your peace. I think you have a choice. In your thoughts, up here and here, up here and here. You've got choice. Are you going to be a participant in the violence, in thoughts and action? Or are you going to choose to become something different? Something this generation needs, starving for, looking for. Peace, Not passive peace, but actionable peace. Not I'm going to stay quiet peace, disciplined peace, practice peace, unshakable peace. This is not the kind that just sits in silence. And yes, we do this through our meditation and we do this through our prayer, but peace is an action word. So what is it that you're going to choose? Are you going to choose for your action to be filled with violence, or will it be filled with peace? That's the question. That's it. That's it. That's it. And in the middle of that, because I do believe that stillness is also an action. I don't believe that it's a weakness. I think that it's authority, Again, like I said earlier, bringing this level here, this high vibrational level, being still and firm in that brings the lower vibration up because we want equilibrium. Yeah. So what's your choice? You got to think about that. You got to think about that. Retrain how you think, retrain how you respond to things, retrain how you show up under pressure. It's a practice. It's a practice, okay? Even in these times, you are still called to be at peace. All right, y'all, I'm going to leave you with that. Of course, if you want to join my community and learn some of these tools and I was talking about the tools and the tactics in order to have actionable peace and just understand what even that even means. I know it's like, what is that? What are you talking about? Actionable peace, right? If you want to learn that, then please do reach out. I love to grow my community of folks that I coach on this, so that we can truly live a happier, healthier, more abundant life. You deserve that. You deserve that. You are called for it. It's in you. It is your birthright. All right, y'all, until the next time, that's it. That's how I'm going to end it today. I wish you all the best, and I pray for you.